Hello, everyone. This is James from the Elijah Tribune, and I just wanted to make a quick video on a couple of things that are happening these days and that we're all aware of, but the things that are happening so fast, it's kind of like we're caught up into it. So I just wanted to share you some things and see if you agree with it and see if this resonates with you a little bit. All right, so you know about the worldwide internet and texting and Facebook and Instagram and all the different types of things that adults and kids are experiencing with their phones and computers and tablets, that they're very, very engrossed and captivated by what's going on. Okay, and that includes the news too. All right, so here, though, is the next step where virtual reality is just coming into play, and it completely gives you like an immersive feeling of being inside. Imagine you could do your text messaging and video watching and internet and all that stuff from the comforts of your home inside the glasses there, or they have like these augmented glasses now that you can do that with. And they're good tools. So, I mean, I'm not saying that it's all bad, but I'm just saying that there's a gluing effect or a very powerful, almost addictive. One time I was coming out of a theater that I'd gone to the movie, and when I came out, it was like all the theaters were coming out almost at the same time, or at least three or four theaters, and it was flooded. Two stories uh, full of teenagers and young adults, and they were all on the phone, like 95% of them. It was like so surreal, like, oh my gosh, it's like it's wild. And, just think about yourself, like how much time you spend scrolling through the Facebook reels and, how you can sit there for an hour and oh my gosh, an hour just went. Or how about watching the movies on TV? They got a lot of these, these karate movies, shoot 'em up movies, all this movies of, they're action movies and they're very, they can be very captivating, right? And it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad movie or a horror movie. And by the way, since we're close to Halloween, don't go to horror movies. They just put fear in you. You don't need that. All right. So, but I'm just saying, this is how we are kind of captivated by all this. And then we've got this going on in the news, and this is actually the Jerusalem Post. And you know how you've got all kinds of wars going on and a lot of tensions building up in the Middle East. And you've got events going on. There was a bunch of people in Maine that were killed, and other events. I mean, we have a lot of people coming across the border. We don't even know who they are, and it's like, it makes you feel kind of unsettled. I mean, it kind of gets scary in ways, right? Like a year or so back, we had some church shootings and things like that. So, I mean, it's not, you don't get this sense of safety as you did before. Not quite. It's like you're living in it, but you're just going with the flow. But the point is that we're so captivated by all this stuff here. It's kind of like our shield of getting involved in all that, and we don't have to. Now, I just want to show you something out of the Bible, and I'm not going to talk a lot about it. This is the Elijah Tribune, and we do get into biblical stuff, and the whole reason for the Elijah Tribune is there's going to be a coming revival, and God's going to be doing a lot of things, and people are going to be coming to see Him and coming to know Him more, because the world is getting worse and worse, and He is the solution in reality. But I just want you to see what this verse is. It's in Luke 18:8, And if you look at Luke 18:1 through 18:8, those that have a Bible and can go look it up, it's about Jesus teaching about prayer and how persistent in prayer we should be, and how this woman was appealing to this judge and kept on bugging him and bugging him and bugging him. And finally, the judge said, "You know what? I'm just going to give her what she wants because she's driving me nuts," kind of a deal. And then Jesus said, "Yeah, we ought to be more praying like this to God, like really pressing into Him and uh, until He answers." Right? This is what Jesus said to do. So you can look it up yourself. Don't believe me. Go look it up. But the thing that was interesting to me is at the end of in Luke 18:8, this is the end of the talk on the prayer. He said, "Nevertheless, when the Son of Man comes," he's speaking of himself, "when I come back, will I really find faith on the earth?" And I mean, when I think of that, I say, why would he say something like that? Why would he say, "Will he find," like it's going to be real scarce, like he's going to have to really, and what's causing that? What's happening? What are happening to Christians? They're not going to church anymore. They're not spending the time in the Word. They're getting caught up in all this distraction, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that it's very addictive, and if your day is caught up in that, how can you develop your relationship with God or get close to God? You see here it says, "So then faith," this is in Romans 10:17. "So faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God." So if you go to church, you're going to be hearing the word of God by a preacher, and that's going to get in and build up your faith, right? But you can be praying, you can be meditating on the word, reading the word, spending time with God in your secret place. Spend time drawing closer to Him. "Yeah, but I'm so busy. I got so many things I'm doing," and that's the whole thing. Is that uh, you know there's a lot of times when I spend prayer and all of a sudden the phone starts going off, and you have to answer. Sometimes or the notifications go off. It's almost like you got to turn the phone off and say, "Look, I'm going to go and pray for a while, and I'll be back in a little bit," right? But there's so many distractions, and then you've got all these demands and things that you have to be responsible over. And so, how do we find time? And so we have to learn. We have to try to make time to spend time with God, so we can develop our faith and we get ready, and we know that He's here because he's not that far away. I mean, there's so many things that are happening that you could almost say Jesus could come back at any minute. Not quite. There's going to be a few things that have to happen first, such as the church has to fall away, a good portion of, and that's happening. That is happening, right? And there's other events but we're close. I mean, it's like this stuff could happen very quick. And I'm talking about even tomorrow, right? How close are we? Well, I mean, everybody's been talking about that for a long time. Yeah, but the thing is all the things are lining up. Jesus said in Matthew 24, "When you see all these things taking place, then you know the Son of Man is very near at the very gates." What things? Pestilences, like COVID, diseases, uh, uh, hunger, war, rumors of wars, right? Confusion, selfishness. I mean, you've got all this stuff going on. And what happens to our faith when we get caught up into that? And see, if you think of if faith growing in your heart is like a plant that grows, you keep watering it and taking care of it, and it grows, then your faith will build up. But in a garden, there are other things called weeds, and they like to compete for the soil's attention. They'd like to compete for, there's other things that want to compete for our attention. And the same thing, not only does faith come by hearing the word of God, but you can get faith in other things by hearing other things, depending on, what you're listening to, what you're hearing. Your ideas can be formed by that. And the enemy would like to just keep us like to the point, yeah, I believe in God, I believe in Jesus, and keep it very low level, right? And keep you all occupied with everything else. And you're not, and there's no preparation, there's no getting ready, right? Well, I mean, he is coming back and he's coming soon. So I invite you to go visit your local church, go get together with some brothers and sisters and start drawing closer to God. Try to block out some time for yourself and start getting things so that you can get closer to God in a church, because uh, the enemy went after the church. He wanted to shut us down. We could go to Walmart, but we couldn't go to church, right? Because we could go do some things, but nope, you can't go to church. That's too dangerous, right? So, and people are still thinking like, I don't know if I want to go back to church now because, I know what happened before. We get conditioned to get used to being away from. So think about what's really going on, how close we are, and think about preparing to get ready for Jesus to come back, because we're not that far away. It could be a few years. Nobody knows the time and the hour, but we're right on the edge. I mean, we're right there. So that's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to gently encourage you uh, to spend time with God and get close to Him. It's a good thing. You'll see your life start getting effective in a positive way. And God bless. And have a nice day. If you need, I have a church. If you're living in San Antonio, there's a church called Believers Christian Center on 1444 Southwest W. White. It's a good church. I've been there for years. If you want to come and get blessed, come. I invite you. God bless. Have a nice day.